Good evening, good afternoon, and perhaps good morning to all who are joining us from various locations across the world. Welcome to Mindcast. Please do type in your locations from where you are joining. And if you can hear my voice, please give a thumbs up. Please type in your locations from where you are joining, everyone. Okay, that's a thumbs up.
Mm.
Mumbai, okay. Dhruv Mohan. Dhruv's in Mumbai now. Okay. How is the weather in Mumbai, Dhruv?
It's hot.
Oh, we're freezing here. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Roshni from Bengaluru. Yeah, Dhruv, compared to Bangalore, yes. Kanisha from Bangalore again. That's great. We have a lot of people from Bangalore joining in. Karan from Chennai. Okay. Is it hot in Chennai, Karan, right now? Okay, so we have like around 40 plus people already join in. So this is me, Samrat. I'll be your Mindcast guide, beaming this session from the buzzing design barn in the heart of New Bengaluru. And this is the first such session of this year. We used to call this Mind Leaders Live. That was long back when we had first started this. But now we are calling it Mindcast. Why? Because we have a cast of creative characters who we are calling senseis. We will anyway be recording this session, but in this live session, we welcome questions in the Q&A box. You must be seeing one Q&A box option. So, I mean, although we would be looking at the chat box as well, we prefer that you give your questions on the Q&A box. All right. And after the end of the interaction between Eisuke san and Sonia ma'am, we will have them answer some of your questions as well. By the way, this is also a precursor to a crafters course called Mind by Spread and Unix. We will share more about that soon. So, as I was saying, that we have a very interesting cast of characters in Mindcast, and the first one in our cast of characters is someone very exciting. Let me introduce to you again Eisuke Tachikawa, who is the founder of No Signer, winner of 150 plus design awards, youngest president at Japan Industrial Design Association from 2021 to 2025, while being the board member of one of the oldest and most important design organizations in the world, World Design Organization. When a team of designers from Osaka, Japan visited us at the design barn, most of them knew him, and maybe it's time you should too. He's also the founder of Adaptment, an urban eco project, and champions what he calls evolutional creativity. And joining us as the host is Sonia Manchanda, the founding partner at Spread, board member WDO, and creator of an imagination ecosystem, which includes Design Barn, Design Farm, and Design Open. Creativity can be a lonely journey with its highs and lows, and we are hoping to take away lessons from those who are successful, like our sensei here, Eisuke san. Let's enter Eisuke's mind. Over to you, Sonia.
Hi, Eisuke. Konnichiwa.
Hi, Sonia.
Konnichiwa,
Yeah,
namaste, all of it. We've got
yeah.
people joining from Chennai and Japan. Strangely, have always had an interesting connection, and we have people joining from Bangalore. And it's nice to see you here after we spent some really lovely moments in Valencia. Um,
It was
Exploring the
beautiful.
old market, talking about history, talking about geography. And so it's nice to involve others in the conversation and open it up to everybody here. And I want you to know, everybody who's joined this session, that it's through conversations, connections, friendships. We meet all over the world, we connect, and that's how we grow. And that's how some of us have grown. And which is where we want to share lessons from our own creative successes with you. And it's lovely. I see somebody from Jaipur also. So you've got all of India talking to, well, somebody very important in Japan. So that's nice. I want to start with a very fundamental sort of question, is okay. Recently, my father, who's 83, going to be 83 now, I sort of pushed him and said, you write so well, and why are you not writing anymore? Because it's so fulfilling, the creative act is so fulfilling. So I pushed him a little bit, and initially he was like, I don't think he liked it, but then slowly he said, okay. And then he wrote a piece, he sent it to me, he wrote it by hand, and he's got a beautiful handwriting, sent it to me. I put it on ChatGPT, gave it back to him. He shared it with his friends. And now it's become a daily habit, you know. So
Mm.
that whole thing of starting something, finishing it, the creative act, if you're going to cook something beautiful or design something amazing, it's something we learn as designers, and our challenges grow bigger and bigger. We take on bigger and bigger challenges, right? And we go on these journeys, but it's extremely lonely, as Samrat mentioned, right? And there are high points. People see the beginning, people see the end, and there's such a
Mm.
dip, there's such an emotional dip on that journey, and sometimes you can't back off from challenges you've taken. You've decided, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go for it. Somewhere halfway through, you may be asking, why am I doing this? Is the kind of thing that makes you happy,
Mm.
it makes you sad, it keeps you up at night. So my question to you therefore is to think a little bit about, what is keeping you up at night? What goes with you when you are on your yoga mat, when you're going for a walk, when you're out with family, and it stays with you and it keeps turning inside of you? You know, as somebody who's so young and so successful, what is it that you are working on, or what is it that's bothering you right now that you're working on? So, what is in this moment? For others to know, what are the
Mm.
kinds of things that they should be working on? What are you working on that you feel will grow you as a creative person and make you even more successful than you already are?
Oh, thank you very much for asking, and it's very, very deep. So, there's of course there's no kind of proper answer, but my version of my feeling along with that. And yeah, quite recently I just came back from Taiwan, where my wife's home country. So I just I just and this time we just went back because of my wife, so there's no kind of relation to the work, but along with it, that what I've thought is what will be connected to this journey. I mean, the trip to the Taiwan, and what can be the, for example, the next project. So I contacted to some of my friends, and I kind of reminded one factory or several factories, which they may wanted to make some design like furnitures or something. So our family visited several factories together, and also meet some of my old friends there, who maybe kind of he was the director of one city, but he's just resigned, and he now becoming a politician. He's now preparing for election. But the point is, like, yeah, before I thought this journey can be related to my kind of work or life. Then I just follow my wife.
Mm.
But if I think that this journey may have some relationship to the kind of future growth of myself, then that will be something changing. And also during the trip, like there is a kind of quite a open time, for example, during the airplane, and I just started several softwares learning. Nowadays, like software is quite evolving, like Twinmotion or some other you may already using. But yeah, some of things, yeah, I've never used, like some BIM or something. So the point is, like it's already like my hobby for learning something new. I don't know, this is a kind of proper question, but actually everything in life is happening by chance. So there is no kind of, for example, strategy or some for example, predictable better way. But what truly happening is present time now. And now is the time you can control for everybody. So for example, you can influence to the future by now, right? So yeah, like maybe one of the creative abilities, something like that. For example, for connecting something, it seems meaningless to meaningful. Or jump into something you have never experienced because everything is by chance. So chance need to be many. So yeah, so such kind of dance with contingents is, I think, the key to enjoy creative life, I think.
That's a lovely answer. I think it's about what I'm hearing is that we need to win. And I think creativity, in a sense, is not just about work, it's
Mm,
the way you live your life and the way you live it in the present moment. But what I also heard and understood from what you're saying is that um, you have to be working on several things at the same time. So, for instance, you need to be working towards your skills because you said in your spare time you were learning something. You need to be able to talk to new people. So, there is, at one level, there is excellence, and at another level, there is evangelization, and you need all of that to go on at the same time. And of course, you need to be entrepreneurial. You need to have your ears and eyes open for opportunity. So that's what I'm hearing from you, that you need to just, so that chances, with a certain mindset that you stay open to that chance, right? So,
exactly. Mm.
yeah. Um, from your unique perspective, from say the fact that you are from Japan and where natural disasters, typhoons,
Mm.
there's a certain respect for nature because you do need to have that respect for nature. So you have tsunamis, typhoons, you have earthquakes, all of it, and maybe therefore in relation to the West and maybe other geographies, maybe that connection in the East is a little bit more to nature and to a certain sense of spirituality. Does that influence your thinking? Does your unique position of where you
Mm.
are influence your thinking? For instance, what you said about chance. I mean, does it come from a certain way of thinking which is not entirely pragmatic, or there's a certain spiritualness in what
Mm.
you're saying also?
Uh, yeah, that's maybe true. I'm quite. It may be becoming a kind of different topic, but I define generally creativity as a similar phenomena as biological way of evolution. And I wrote a book about it before, like about more than 500 pages of the book, which is showing how the biological evolution is quite similar to the human creativity. And as I already mentioned, that creativity is about the chance. But the evolution is also the same. Like that is one kind of driving force of evolution is mutation, which is by chance and by contingency, like the era of copying DNA. And it will make the variation. And some of selection pressure will filter some adapted trait. And if the such kind of inheritances keep happening again and again, eventually adapted trait will be average. That is the adaptive evolution. But I feel the creativity is quite similar. Like we need to try many of the things, like for having some contingent chance. But at the same time, like we need to have some necessary selection pressure. And selection pressure, something is quite predictable. Yeah, if you observe carefully, it can be quite predictable. But about natural disaster, of course, some of it is predictable. But at the same time, like if it's about time for once in 1,000 years or 100 years, then you need to express some information to the future. Or also you need to deal something unexpected. So yeah, that is quite important for what kind of evolution can be happen in local. Like if the context is quite stable, like the evolution can be quite, in a way, predictable. But at the same time, like if we are living in, for example, natural disaster place like Japan, where is the kind of the one of the most dangerous area along with the ring of fire, so-called ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean. So we maybe kind of get used to something unexpected, and also to live on the presence is also a part of, for example, Buddhism belief. There's a kind of belief in present time. So such kind of influence, I think, is also there. Maybe because we are living in quite unpredictable and also unstable land.
A certain belief in the present time, a certain belief in the present time, and therefore being open to adaptation, being open to maybe making different choices, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Ideally, yes. Like, but I don't know, current Japan is also, inheriting this kind of thinking. But yeah, I believe, that is also related to the flexibility of yourself.
So tell me, when you take it into industry, when you take it into organizations, and you talk about this form of creativity, a sort of evolutionary creativity, tell us a little bit more about that. How do they perceive it? How do they respond to
Mhm.
it? How do they apply it to
Oh,
their actual work?
thank you very much. So, let me, so this is a slide about evolutionary creativity. But for as a designer, of course, I wanted to know what's design deeply. And in my definition, or generally in your designer thought, like design is not like a kind of small job, but like actually everything was designed by someone. So design is about the creativity of mankind generally. Is that, yeah, right? So the point is like if you really would like to be a good designer, or to be good at design, we need to know about design, but in that case we need to know about human creativity. So I was kind of haunted for researching it and knowing it. And also one idea I really hate is that, creativity is about the talent, and such innate ability cannot be taught. So yeah, you need to give up for nurturing it. So, but yeah, for designer, I believe, everyone knows that, there is a kind of way to nurture it. But at the same time, like, there is no kind of, quite structured way. And it's a kind of pity that, after we realize something, oh, this is a learnable process, but nobody told that. So in that case, that is the matter that, with or without realizing these kind of method, or some proper way of learning it. But I feel that is about the missing of education, right? So I wanted to find what kind of education can be fundamental for nurturing design and creativity. And when I start researching human creativity, I found many of strange things. Like, for example, within 200,000 years of human mankind, I mean, there's Homo sapiens. Actually, we invented a tool about 70,000 years ago. I mean, only one third of the time of the whole history.
Mm.
The point is like, if the creativity is about talent, why two-thirds of the time the people could not invent the tool properly? So there are many of quite strange things happening. Even within this 200,000 years, our DNA is almost not changing. So that should be something evolving outside of our body. Yeah, because our body have not changed much within this 200,000 years of time. So, but anyway, let me skip this part. This part, and in my conclusion that there is only one thing which is similar to creation, maybe evolution, because there is no such phenomena is happening, or there is no sign of such phenomena happening inside the soil of several billion years. So yeah, I kind of haunted about evolution. And one thing evolution is quite interesting that, evolution is a kind of theory and explanation how such kind of, super creativity of nature is happening without designer. So yeah, of course, if there is such system, I would like to know. So that is a kind of beginning of my kind of journey for trying knowing it.
So
Yeah, please.
to respond to what you're saying, I'm hearing a lot about this whole thing of now we need a bit of a revolution in creativity. But I think coming from where you're coming from, the geography you're coming from, because the present moment matters. What's going on now, we need to understand and we need to be able to move with it rather than assume that we can suddenly change everything. Maybe there is a point to what you're saying about evolutional. It's evolving things, seeing, testing, seeing how it works out, adapting a little bit more, and responding to the present moment. And there's a certain sense of humility and sensitivity in that. So, which I think, in my view, is quite beautiful. Um, I'm going to segue into another kind of question. What does success mean to you? A lot of the people who
Oh.
are joining us in today's session are design students, maybe final year design students. Um, how do you define success? I mean, is it, uh, do you do just keep doing good work and the rest happens? A lot of the times we assume you do the good work and the rest happens. Or a lot of people are thinking that they must put their work out there and that's where people will find you. um, uh, do you go out on a limb? I know both of us have made the effort to actually stand for elections and be on the board of the World Design Organization, and it takes a lot of effort outside of our work. So we've even gone beyond, I mean, the basics that we need to do to keep an organization running, keep good work happening, make sure it's growing, make sure the people working with you are growing, all of that. But even that's not enough. And then you need to push a little bit further. So, and maybe you've done it much faster than I would have. Design is much more in
No.
our country. In our country, design is still evolving. Actually, the interesting conversation, in fact, even in the board we've been having, is the fact that in India there's so much happening in design now. Every
That's
every
great.
every week there's a new design school opening. We have we've gone from just 7,000-8,000 designers a year to over 100,000 designers a year. And what will that mean? That will mean that now we'll start to define what design is, what it can do, and what it can be for. That's where we are at. But design, maybe because, like in our country, also in the Northeast, where nature is a little bit harsh, people have a much more design and craft and natural ability towards it, you know. But and similar to Japan. So, therefore, Japan has always had this space and its own language and its own philosophy in design. And we in India so far have just accepted whatever was given to us. whereas our roots are very deep, you know. So what does success mean? How do we define that success? How do we define our own meaning of design? How do we move forward stridently and successfully?
Yeah, it's again quite
Milestones. Are
deep
there
question.
milestones? Yeah. In your journey, were there milestones, particular
Mm.
milestones? That's simplified.
Yeah, from my, yeah, let me then share about my song. I started my design career when I studied architectural design. You may have heard the architect Kengo Kuma, who, or you may not, but he's can be said like prominent architect in the world now, and he is my professor. And on the time, I was really, really eager to become an architect. So I wanted to know the architecture generally. And what I've thought is like, oh yeah, there is, for example, doors. Door industrial design, but architectural design, which is the category, and signages, and sometimes the naming of the buildings, or so the point is like, if you carefully see, architectural design is not about only the field of architectural design, but that is a kind of accumulation of many kind of design, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know, not anything, but I was curious about, for example, furniture or graphic design, but I did not study well, because already the category was isolated. And but yeah, when I see, for example, the masters in architecture, like Le Corbusier was a painter, Charles Eames was a movie director, Miss Van der Rohe is a rector and a furniture designer and an engineer. So the point is like, oh, actually, there it's now designs too much defined to the small categories, but actually there is kind of one holistic category or one holistic study of creation or design. So I kind of start self-taught about furniture design and graphic design. And I started my own design office when I was a student. And somehow I could survive until now. And during that journey, yeah, thank you for the, Samrat's introduction, but I got, yeah, quite lots of awards, thankfully, like more than 150. But that is not about, that cannot be the purpose or conclusion. But that is the kind of, always about like the, like the, how can I say, weight scale of yourself. Yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm 70 kilos, about 70 kilos. But, yeah, I need, because I started by myself, that I need to check my weight. Yeah, my kind of quality of design, because there was quite few way to check it in the perspective of the third eye, like, the other one's point of view. So, so yeah, 150 hours is almost meaningless. I mean, that, maybe 10 prominent hours would be enough, I think. But for self-checking, I needed to have, and that is already the conclusion in a way later of your design work. So the point is like, during the design work, you are focusing on that project, but later, maybe 1 year later, that word will appear. So on that time, always you are or we are doing the other things. So it cannot be like, for example, the success, because success is happening. The success is happening not the time when you receive the award, but the time you are designing or you are making something, which can be the future seed of such kind of, improvement. So improvement cannot be the success. So, and and one thing it's interesting is that, for example, the wealth is yeah. One time I've imagined that what is the situation of wealthy, and yeah, and my kind of hypothesis, my kind of on the time, I've thought about it, and my in a way conclusion is the time you feel you will get wealthier or you feel kind of get rich is when you get something. So the point is like, so if, for example, some super wealthy people lose 10% of their money, then they will suffer, I think. But if I'm poor and I got, for example, $10 in the street, oh, I may feel, oh, I'm lucky. You may need to go to the police, but anyway, I may feel lucky, right? So actually the wealthy or such feeling is happening with the gap, and the gap and in a way, acceleration. So the point is like, not the conclusion, not the amount of what you have, not the title, would be the success. Then what success is. And so, and of course, I once, slightly let me introduce the book. And this book got quite a kind of huge academic prize in Japan, Shichihei Yamamoto Prize. And here is Takeshi Oro, who is the kind of, the most famous author in Japan. He, yeah, and he, and I, and he had a chance to have a dialogue for the TV show in Japan, NHK, about, yeah, so he's like a kind of giant of wisdom, and I'm just no one. Yeah, everyone knows about him, but no one knows about me, I think. But yeah, but I could have the chance to ask him that, what was the yeah, he is already 80 years old and I'm 44. So, the age is also doubled. And I asked, to him that what was the happiness? And his answer was quite deep, and I quite, quite satisfied with it. And his answer was the time to focus in front. So that is also quite similar to what I answered lately. But yeah, he is a kind of, he is a maniac of insect. So he makes so much of, how can I say, the sample of insect. And yeah, during that time, like, making such gathering the samples of insect is his, the best time in the life, even the best author in Japan. So yeah, so happiness or success is like that, I think. If you're something meaningful in front and you feel the importance to them, then that is success. And also, hopefully that success would have a kind of view forward for me. Yeah, for me, if for example, the project can be for someone, like for saving the life in the future or present, that can be the measurement of success. So, I often work for something quite related, some work for quite related to social challenges like disaster prevention, climate change adaptation, or or renewable energy or such kind of thing. Because I'm in a way sure that that will save lives.
So
So
what
such
I'm
expectation, please, please.
yeah, no, so I'm just responding to what you're saying. What I'm getting is this sense, and I can totally relate to it, which is when you're in the here and now, and you've got something meaningful that you're doing, and you're fully present and in it, with it, you sort of become one with it. The answers come because you're so deeply into it. The answers come, and you're able to sometimes solve very big things. The answers come through you. And
Mm.
I see a lot of humility in what you're saying. There's not so much ego, it's just being there, being in that. When you say that you're 44, I'm 10 years older than you. So we've had the advantage of not having the kind of distractions young people have today. You know, I
Mm,
see all the time when young people are working, are at work. Um, at least I know when I was in my 20s, you could work in a way where you were so involved in the work that you forgot your biological functions. You forgot to eat, you forgot to pee, you forgot to do everything. And you were just so in it, time just sort of lost its meaning and you were involved in it, you were passionate. It's not even passion, actually. It's not like, oh, yeah, I'm going to solve this problem. But you're there in it, and it's so present. So, therefore, you prepared your mind, like preparing the ground.
mm,
You've prepared your mind and you're reaching this moment where things are coming together nicely. Um, in an age of distractions, I mean, how do you propose that young people today can reach this state? It's a state of mind.
mm.
It's a state of mind.
Uh,
It's being, it's a way of being. How can they not get distracted? Because, like you said, the rewards, the awards, the accolades, the acknowledgement will follow, and actually forget that. Even
mm,
if it doesn't happen, what I'm hearing is that being there in it, solving that thing is in that moment reward in itself. If I take the analogy of a chef who's making something beautiful and smelling it, you feel like God, right? You feel like God when you create something beautiful and you get it just right. So that
mm,
itself is a reward. But would you be missing it? One, everybody's consuming so much now. And now you've got AI. Is there going to be anything original out there? Anything that's beautiful that came out of a certain human yearning, longing, discovering? And what happens to young people with their distractions and with, I know they're maybe much better informed than us because they're constantly feeding on the stream of human intelligence, right? But yet, when they get down to creating, how can they be original? How can they not have this entire pressure of this AI and all of that and be able to create
mm,
something fresh, original, and something that rewards them because they know, it's not about anybody else knowing. You've done this beautiful work. So,
mm. Thank you for asking. And yeah, what I've thought about is that, is it truly the destruction is the burden or not for life generally? I mean, for example, yeah, a little bit hesitant to share, but I had an experience, for example, both of the parents missing. They divorced when I was 4 years, and I lost my mother then. And later, I I I got the kind of huge depth of my father, and he kind of missed. He was missing. Yeah, when I started design office during that time, maybe 20 years ago, or somewhere around. But the point is like, both of the experience was amazing in a way. For example, that process nurtures my kind of independence mind. And also, that because there was no parents in the house, and I was grown up with my grandmother, but she was also worked in the daytime. So I had a kind of quite huge kind of freedom, like sometimes such freedom can be dangerous, like going up to the top of the building, or sometimes the making the fire with the fallen leaves just next to the house. I was lucky that it was not get fired, but but yeah, such kind of freedom made me creative, maybe some part. And at the same time, when I started design, The time that is the exact time when the computational design happened. So the similar destruction in kind of process of design is happening it's happened like now, maybe because of PC, like today is because of AI thing. But for younger generation, they have time, and also they have the kind of equal right and exposure to the new technologies. So they had more than equal because they are young, and also the condition is quite equal with or without experiences. So that technology will help a lot for nurturing nurturing and getting quicker for getting overcome the existing designers such as like me or Sonia or some other one for younger generation. So technology such disruption this technology disruption can be the acceleration for younger generation, and as well such kind of sometimes burden or destruction or situation, such kind of negative in younger generation can be later positive, I think. Like for getting quicker the learning processes. So for example, I have two children, 5 and 3, and I and my wife is super nice parents, I think. So what I'm questioning is that are they really okay for it? I mean, they need to have some challenge, but they're too much cared in a way. So maybe we need to care about this, something like that. AI will take care of you, or many of the systems or many things will take care of you, and such taking care processes will get losing your own challenges or creativity. That may be more burden. So of course so yeah, during the age of such like today, everything to be cared, and also need to be corrected in proper way. We need to we are easily get follow the direction of society or AI or something, not from you yourself. But that is quite, in longer term, can be burden to be creative and to make some crazy challenge happening. So yeah, it's up to you, I think, in every
Yeah,
time.
it is a burden, but I think more and more in whatever context we have, um, because especially say like what you're saying, you're really nice parents. India has a lot of really nice parents, and the young people are very well looked after. And in the work environment, sometimes they expect the same looking after. Whereas actually, what they need to do for their own selves, I would imagine, is perhaps challenge themselves, push themselves, not accept
Mm,
answers given to them, be it from AI. You know, I mean, if it is a tool and they can sort of use it as yet another tool, I think we'll be in an okay place. I mean, like what you're
mm,
saying, there were tools even in our time, different kind of tools. But I think you would still be okay. But I think where we stop creating wholly, and accepting the
mm,
answers given to us, maybe there's a challenge there. So we're looking at the next couple of minutes to go. So I'm going to ask if there are any questions, and if there's anything more you would like to show, please share that. And I have one question I want you to sort of answer for our participants is, tell me about three key mindsets, and we will be asking this of all our guests who will follow in the mindcast. Three mindsets or three bits of advice, however you would like to play it, that you
mm,
would give to them to be able to better prepare for success. One is talent. There is talent, and then there is small successes maybe become bigger successes to you're feeling much more confident in somebody who is sort of now kind of designed for success. You've got to continue doing that beautiful work, and success will come because it's now in your process, it's in your rhythm, it's in the tools you use that you've sort of been collecting. But what are the mindsets? What can we do to better prepare for success? Assume everybody is equally talented, and you said everybody has the capacity for creativity. They just have to find it within them. But how do they prepare for success?
Mm. So yeah, would I share three of maybe let's coming back to the diagram which I've shown. This is a kind of general diagram about how evolution is occurring. One is a kind of the such kind of mutative processes like the chance. But in your head, that is about craziness or challenge or idiotness. But at
Mhm.
the same time, for knowing the kind of selection pressure in nature, there is a way which can easily happening, or there is a way which will be quite hard, and you need to kind of observe the situation. So that is about quite observation. So yeah, to be creative, generally, I believe you need to be one thing mutative. Yeah, to be get crazier. These 9 patterns is a kind of I wrote the book about the pattern to be crazy in a way. There are several ways. Yeah, if you are not confident about new ideas, then you can
I'm
study.
going to advise everyone to screenshot this. Steal until we get his book here.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, to be crazy, you can integrate something, you can reversely thinking, you can separate something, you can substitute something, you can transit, you can put many things, or you can disappear something, or you can disguise something, or you can kind of just change the shape crazily. But these patterns often happening both in invention design or even in natural evolution. So one is like that. That is also about how you yourself deal with you. You can move to the different country, or you can kind of prolong your one ability, or you can just missing 1 month. You can just integrate the different ability to design. You can switch something. You can reversely thinking. So the point is these are the training to get outside of your your kind of current how can I say current tendency to decide something, but to get the kind of crazier conclusion. So such kind of training, I feel it's need for every creators, because creativity is about the one part of the ability is how to get outside of yourself, and
Very,
the second.
yeah, very
mm,
valuable, very valuable. In fact,
yeah.
I'll just mention, you can continue, but I'll mention
Mhm.
somebody has asked, Rajiv Chandramanu has asked, thank you for sharing your time with us today. You've had three broad layers of experiences: design of products, which is industrial design, design of the experience of using products, physical and experience, and the involvement with issues like climate change, which I'm also sometimes called to be part of. How can we designers be a part of solving larger issues like climate change? So they're
That's
asking,
great.
that one question is this, another question is, where do you look for inspiration? So some of it is already there in the model you're talking about, that you get out of your own head and
Mm.
not
Yes.
stuck there, and do not self-limit. So that's already there, but maybe you can also, while you're showing this, answer these questions, because
Mm.
they are all beautiful questions. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to ask them of you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so yeah, the second topic, comment or word among the third is quite strongly connected to the amazing question now I received. Of course, we need to know the challenge, and we need to know what situation is a kind of adaptation after the creation happened. And that is such kind of abilities about observation, like knowing the situation carefully. And for example, climate change is a kind of huge topic, but it's of course lately getting popular among design field. But unfortunately, that generally in economy or design, the kind of uh, kind of proper knowledge about such kind of big topic is not popular yet. So you need to, in a way, learn the other field of knowledges for designing along with such challenges. But actually, yeah, we designer can think that every observation among the different field is almost the same as design. Or in other words, the observation we need to have in design. And I counted how many observation. So the second, again, coming back to the question that, this is a kind of second topic, like, we need to be quite observative. And also, we need to nurture the ability of observation for seeing the adaptation or seeing what kind of selection pressure is happening. And I kind of, counted how much observation we designers are doing once because I wanted to be good at it. And on that time, my conclusion was, of course, there are many of observation. Like we need to observe the customer, we need to observe the process of making, or we need to observe the existing cases, or sometimes using the data. Or so, you cannot easily say like, oh, how much observation we need. But in my conclusion, maybe in the greater category can be limited to 4, because what we can observe is only space and time. So it's about inside and outside, and the past and the future. Like for example, if you see about the chair, you will see what is the structure and how to make it. We will see what kind of chairs were popular and masterpieces, and what kind of influence is happening among such chairs. And also, what is the relationship to the society? Like, who is the user and who are making it? And also, what kind of change will happen later. So maybe this structure is right. Maybe, we can structureize generally every observation in natural science. So I counted how many observations are happening in natural science, and beautifully, it could structureize. So for example, anatomists are doing morphological observation, which is seeing form, or physiologists are doing seeing the function, embryologist is seeing the developmental processes. But that is exactly designers doing, right? So the point is like, in historical point of view, knowing the variation and knowing the substrate differences and historical relationship. And ecologists are seeing the kind of, behavior, and also experimenting the small for, emulating the small environments and the geographical networks, and also, the systems happening, and you using the data. And also, we are also having the ability for putting for making the hypothesis with making the kind of vision like perspective. So actually, each of these are quite academic academic category of natural science, but actually designers doing generally every kind of observation. So one thing I feel is that missing on creative education is actually these kind of quite fundamental way of observation have almost never taught to design or creative processes because we already isolated and separated from natural sciences. But originally these were the same, right? For example, with uh, of course, needless to say, for example, Leonardo da Vinci was the scientist and designer, and many of engineers were designers as well. But now it's quite isolated. So we really need to kind of reintegrate these kind of like fundamental way of observation thing. But the point is like these if you kind of get these point of view of observation, you can seek almost everything with quite detailed eye.
I,
So it will.
sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you. I think where we are going with this, it's very clear that this is a call to young designers to get out of their own head and realize that it's not just technology that can help you with the design sitting in front of the computer, but there is a lot of science behind design, and like much like other fields, it's a pretty deep and serious and fundamental kind of field where it starts from really getting into very deep observation and then coming out from there to create something which a lot of the times we're missing because I think we're teaching fast in schools and we are focusing on skills and stuff like that. So, why I interrupted was somebody's asked a young designers asked, what advice do you give us young designers? Where we have to learn to evolve in a world where AI is growing and slowly taking over. So
mm.
I think somewhere what you were
So
saying, I just want to direct what you were saying towards this question and link it.
So yeah, what I just shown is a kind of each one is a kind of Sorry that there are many of jargons from natural science, but the point is like every process is a kind of point of view, like how to see inside, how to see outside, how to see the past, how to see the future. And the point is like we often we often lose the balance of seeing something, tend to, for example, too much inside, like only engineering or only for the technology, or sometimes only outside, like without knowing how to make it. So kind of such imbalance will cause like sometimes quite inefficient conclusion, like designing something you actually cannot make it, or designing something there's no, for example, customers, or such kind of so
No,
the point is
I also,
point. Mm,
I also want to say that the model that you've shown, sorry, I'm going to keep
mhm.
interrupting because in the interest of time, because in 5 minutes or so,
Yeah, I know,
we
I
have
know,
to
I
wrap
know.
up. But what I wanted to say was that while this is your model, interestingly,
Mm,
we have something similar yet very different. You know, so I think most mature designers, as you mature as a designer, you develop your own process to be able
mm,
to actually come up with the most fundamental observations and really go down to what people call first principles, or
mm,
get into the details and then evolve from there, to come up with the right answer, because you want to come up with the right
mm,
answer, because you come up with an answer, a lot is going to get invested into that. So much effort is going to go in, so much material, so much time, so much money.
mm,
So your own process, I think creating your own process and your own way of thinking like you have done, I think, if anything, that should be an inspiration to all our participants that, this is how you need to be able to articulate. And you will be able to articulate only if you go on that journey to explore and find your own sort of process and your methods and
mm,
your metaphors, to be able to do this.
mm. Yeah, that's really important for acquiring your own way At the same time, like, these are already, generally we or natural scientists uses these kind of observational way more than several hundred years. So the point is like, we can just train each of the perspective, and later after trial, you can nurture your own version of the perspective along with that. But at the same time, like, since we are not often taught for general observations, that is kind of quite problem, I feel, because nowadays, like, answers are cheap because AI will answer almost anything. But we need to really carefully observe whether it's right or not, or or so AI will not kind of assure which part is missing. So what we need to do is with the careful observation point of view, that for example, sometimes to be critical to the AIs, and also to make the less missing part happening in the conclusion. So that is genuinely about seeing something missing. So we need to be, of course, more careful in a way. Uh, so but this kind of ability, like how much observational skill you have, is not like not as of now, quite putting less importance in education, for example.
Correct.
Big, yeah. So because of it, like, and also it's kind of difficult to be scored, maybe. But this is very, very deep and important. So, the point is like,
Can't score,
in.
you can't score like what you were saying earlier about this whole
Mm,
being open to chance. If I
mm,
disappear for 2 months, you can't score it. You can't
mm,
score the value of it. Nobody's going to pay you to do it. But it's for your
right.
own criticality and for your own self that you maybe need to be able to do something like that. Somebody, Vatsha asked in the chat that how do you start your process of writing, especially of writing? Can you tell us a
Mm.
little bit about that? Like, I think what you also means
Oh.
thinking, and she's somebody, Varsha Jadhav. Hi, Varsha. She's worked with us. So she was saying about how
Mm,
in we used to talk about, and we continue to talk about creation, the cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction. You know,
mm,
and she was saying that in today's context for young designers, they get easily disappointed when the creative direction needs to pivot. So, this permanent attachment to a thought process and fearing any conversation with
mm,
challenges is what she finds challenging in today's young designers. So, she's saying she could be generalizing, but this is what I've observed that, you create something and you get attached to it, and then you are like, no, you can't break this for me. And I would sort of agree, because if you have not opened, if you've not gone and you explored, then you don't know what other paths are there. And when you come up with something and then somebody challenges you, maybe you are at a bit of a loss. So do you find that as a challenge? So one is a question on writing, where do you start writing from? And the other question is around young designers today and creating something and getting fixed versus that open, being in the present moment, absorbing that feedback,
mm,
enjoying it, even enjoying
mm. I
criticism,
see. Mm, mm,
enjoying somebody else giving you a critical point of view,
mm.
valuing that. Um, uh,
So let's start from the
Openness.
first question. Yeah, I just sent you to no, I
I
just
see the
sent
chat.
the
Yes.
to the chat that for to my website nosigner.com, and we often use the kind of framework like why and how. We think why first. For example, about writing as well. Why, for knowing why part, you need to be quite observative for everything. Like, observation is the ability to find your own question. So not to be questioned by someone, but to question yourself. and also define what kind of situation is good on, for example, in sometimes design or sometimes for projects. So anyway, for knowing such quality, we need to know why first. And so for about writing, of course, we need to have the purpose of writing. So yeah, without any purpose of writing, of course, you cannot write anything. So that is the very, very first. Yeah, why you write. And also, how part, it's quite simple. Like how part is the ability for accomplishment. Like for design, for example, in graphic design, you can use Illustrator, or for example, architectural design, you can use CAD, or in industrial design, you can use some softwares like Fusion 360 or Rhinoceros or something. So yeah, so that is the how part. So you can accomplish something. So about writing, for example, that is about how fast you can write. Or also, how accurate and attractive you can write. So that is about the ability of, for example, how much text you read, or how much text you wrote, or yeah, how for example, in my case, that when I was a university student, I was quite fond of the game of typing. So I kind of, played several 10 titles of typing games. And that was really great because, as of now, that skill helped me a lot because my writing is quite fast. But nowadays, like, for example, voice recording is super fast, more than me. Yeah, I'm the fastest in my office for typing actually, but even I use the voice because that is faster. But for the voice, we need to also correct later. So anyway, you need to type as of now. Maybe AI will aid for reducing such mistake later. But anyway, as of now, you need to type. So yeah. One idea is, if you are not finding the kind of proper why or the theme to write, just train yourself to be faster for typing will exactly help, of course, your writing ability. Because writing is about trial and error. So yeah, of course, that is a kind of too dry in a way answer, but still always will help generally. So yeah, if you're so such observational skill and for example generally writing skill will make a kind of good writing in the future, I think. And
I'm
the
going to
second question.
okay, the second question was getting fixed. We are going to go fast now, and I'm going to. Okay, you finish, then I'll just leave you with one question, and then we'll let Samrat wrap up.
Okay, yeah. Second question is quite deep as well. But yeah, I believe such observation skill will really help people to not get overwhelmed to the, uh, when they get enter to the new, when they get enter to generally the new field or design. And they need to understand what kind of ecosystem is happening, what kind of decision making is happening. And one thing design is quite tricky is that there's no definition of good or bad, clear definition of good or bad, invisible state. But actually there is a kind of yeah, from the skillful designers, there is a kind of quite definitely good or bad. So that is kind of looks like unfair because there is no measurement. But still, in global context, there is a kind of good or bad. So of course, one thing the whole team need to have is a kind of the kind of higher standard of seeing the works, and in knowing the kind of this invisible relationship of definition why it's good. At the same time, like, of course, for generally the project to get forward, uh, every person can have the chance to contribute to the project, of course. So actually, in creative project, if you are, quite, if you are quite sure for the opinion, or also that the opinion is quite, in a way, right, or quite, make sense for the whole team, even the youngest team member can be the leader. It's about how you understand the context surely and deeply and widely. But usually, experienced people would have wide understanding or deep understanding for the context. So, sometimes your opinion may be shorter or less or shallower. So that is the point. So, of course, it depends on the team system, uh, basically if your directors are creative enough, they will understand your kind of point of view, how deep, how wide you are seeing. So sharing such context and knowing such context should be quite important. Of course, that is a kind of quite difficult journey, and sometimes that uh, sometimes because it's quite not easy to see what's happening behind of it. Sometimes it's, how can I say, it's kind of get easier for for understanding the kind of whole situation to how to tell, uh, mm,
Anyway, so
to
okay, I'm going to
yeah.
then
Anyway,
start to wrap up. I'm
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah,
wrap
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm going to say thank you to everyone who was part of this. We are still at over 60 people here, and we were almost 100 people getting together on what is a long weekend. Clearly, you want to learn, you want to grow, and congratulations for that, for making the time to join us. My last question is going to be, and maybe I'm going to ask everyone to answer that question in the chat just for fun so we get everybody's views. Sandeep Deobhakta is asking, how do you manage the tension between creativity and practicality in the design process? So I'm going to push everyone to also try and answer that question in the chat. So, how do you manage the tension between creativity and practicality in the design process? And that's my last question to you. And after that, thank you. And I'll hand over to Samrat. And thank you so, so, so very much. And I look forward to seeing you in London at the General Assembly next month.
Yeah, thank you. So can I answer now or
Yes?
on the chat?
No, no, please, no, no,
Okay.
answer now.
Okay, yeah. Be- Before answering, you answered the three things it we needed to be creative. One is mutation, and one's kind of observational quality, like understanding selection pressure. And the third thing is that for put this cycle keep happening like this spiral. So the point is like, you need to be crazy, like creative, but you need to be practical, like quite observative. And only, one circle would not be enough because that will never, that will have a kind of quite a space to find too much answer or not. Yeah, for putting that idea to be polished, like quite adapted in quite long time. Then you need to keep come and go with these processes. So I hope this can be the answer for you. But actually, we are not talking about such kind of balance of creativity and practicality. But to be creative, generally, need to keep cycling. Unless doing it, it will not adapt that. But at the same time, like sometimes when you keep cycling it, the idea itself will surpass you. You can you can get over yourself, and some point, the idea itself will survive more than you. So that is a kind of creative conclusion, I think. So yeah, let's keep happening and keep cycling to be sure and to be crazy.
All right, Eisuke-san, thank you so much. So, what happens in interesting sessions like this is like a star cast in a good movie. The audience keeps asking for more, and no one wants the movie to end. But within this 1 hour, our first cast in Mindcast, with our first cast in Mindcast, we have seen something which is so deep and which we have learned so much from. And from Design Barn to Japan and back, everyone, your minds just met brilliance today. Okay. So we will also keep you updated about the next Mindcast session, which will happen in a week or two. And we will also keep in touch with each of you about the upcoming Mind course. Uh, and you will also receive a survey form from Zoom about this session. So if any questions has been left unanswered, we will just look into it and get back to you. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Eisuke sir. Thank you, Sonia, for taking out the time uh, to join this session. And until next time, keep crafting bold futures, stay curious, and stay limitless. Thank you so much.
Thank you.